How incredibly talented are these young people, huh? We range in a lot of grades here. We go from, how many people are 8th graders? Raise your hand. One 8th grader. How many 7th graders? How many 6th graders? How many 5th? Hey, little guys, you can come up the front here if you want to sit on the floor. How many 5th graders? How many 4th graders? And here's the big one. How many 3rd graders? I bet you could guess that they were 3rd graders, right?
First.
All right. So you guys want to
Johnny Butsy. Oh, Brody! I want to head
all right, so and then you turn it over there. You want to slide down? Can you walk around? All right, so I want to give you a chance. To ask our cast. Those people coming in, thank you. I want to give you a chance to ask our cast any questions you might have of them. If it's a general question or a specific question for a particular member. Who has a question they'd like to ask? Yes, okay, what's your question?
On most of these people here, those black things around their heads, are those speakers?
They're microphones, okay? So you can see that, how many people here have a microphone on? Okay, so honestly, when you go to a lot of young people's shows, unfortunately, budgets don't allow them to have a lot of microphones. And nowadays, kids have not learned how to project. So we've go to the expense of putting microphones on them because we think that their words are very important. So even though the mic is really little up there and over there, it can really pick up the sounds. And there's a guy on the board that picks which ones to pick up them, when to turn them on and when to turn them off. That's why you can hear. Hopefully, could you hear okay in the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really, they deserve to be heard because they worked really hard. Okay, good question. Somebody else have a question? Yes?
If I was in this play, I'd want to be Molly.
You want to be Molly? How come?
Because she's being pushed around.
Because she gets pushed around. So Molly, you're in the 3rd grade. Was it difficult to learn all your lines? A little? You have to practice them?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? And what about the dancing? You have to practice the dancing? This young lady is very, very talented because she's a very good reactor. Acting is reacting. And she reacts very, very well to people around her. As you can see how expressive she was in her face, all her facial expressions. And for a young performer in 3rd grade, that is very, very special. Very talented. All right, anybody else have a question? Yes?
Can we pet the dog?
Can you pet the dog? You know what, after we do the questions, you can have your pictures taken with different people and you can have pictures taken with Sandy. Sandy, let's talk about Sandy. Fiona, can we bring Sandy over here and talk about him a little? Brody has had less rehearsal time than anybody here. And because of Brody's age, we often would rehearse the first 2 scenes with him, and then he couldn't make it to the last scene because he was too tired.
He needs a nap.
He needed a
Very
nap.
old.
He's very old, but he's a very, very sweet dog and very responsive. Did anybody know what helped Brody to go next to Annie when she called him?
A biscuit?
What's that?
A biscuit?
Yeah.
A biscuit, yeah. Most of the times in shows when there's animals, they use little biscuits or treats to get the animal to respond. And Annie had some biscuits in her hand. We learned a lot about this. The first rehearsals, the other Annie would have the biscuits and put them in a pocket to get Brody. You want to pet the dog in a second? So she'd have the biscuits in her pocket, to get Sandy to come to ready to go on stage, and then the other Sandy would have the biscuits so that the dog would go on stage. But we shouldn't have had the person behind the scenes with the biscuits, because Sandy would go out and then want to go back and get some more biscuits from the other one. So we said, okay, we learned we can't do that. So we had to figure out the best way to do it. But Kylie has worked with dogs before and has a dog, which made it a lot easier. Our other Annie, Christina, doesn't have a dog and has never worked with dogs. So she's had to get comfortable with Rhodey slash Sandy. But she has become very comfortable with it now. The dog responds. Very sweet. This is a therapy dog?
He's a therapy dog, yes.
He was trained to be to help people, and he's just a very, very sweet dog, so it made it a lot easier. Question. How long have we practicing? Who would like to?
Since like September 25th.
Oh, you're
7 weeks. 7 weeks, and only 4 days a week. We don't practice on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And we practice for 2 hours in the afternoon. What's remarkable about them, and usually with young performers, if you put the bar, they will rise to it. You know, they were told they can use their script once, and then they had to have it memorized. And they came to rehearsal with their lines memorized. I know you say, why can't they do that schoolwork, right? But it's amazing. They were determined, and they learned their lines right away. They learned their songs right away. When they weren't on stage, because we'd be doing a scene they weren't in, they'd be in the hallway singing their songs. They were so determined to get good at their parts, and that's why they were so good. Another question? We're going to take Rosie for a walk. Okay, how many of you guys was this your first show here at for Broadway Theater Workshops? That's great. Quite the start. And we do a show every fall for grades 3 through 8. So if you have some young people here that say, you know, I would have loved to have done that. Well, we'd love to have you. Think about that next year. And we have a summer camp. How many of you guys go to our summer camp? Raise your hand. And there's where they learn the skills. Because we have a camp where we teach them about acting, singing, and dancing. And there's a lot that goes to it. Some young performers are talented, they're just not trained. And we take pride in the fact that we're an educational theater company trying to teach them how to be better performers. So I think that's why they keep growing as performers. Come on, give me some more questions. They're dying. Yes?
I have a compliment.
A compliment? Well, thank you, sir.
You guys did something.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Question? Yeah. Okay, you guys, let's have a couple of people answer. We answered one already. So the most fun part.
Me?
Valentina, what was the most fun part for you in the show?
I think the most fun part for me is when I'm in the other cast and I play for the whole. No, that's not what I said. No. I love my part. I love my part so much. But the most fun for me, where I get to kind of like, it's harder, I guess, to do, is during Hooverville, because we have to be like mad, but some parts of the song we have to be sarcastic, and it's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, you know what? So all of these guys except Annie. Everyone except Annie is in the other cast, and they're in ensemble parts. And honestly, sometimes the ensemble part is a lot more fun. It's less pressure, and they can enjoy themselves. So it's understandable. Everybody wants to be the lead, but sometimes it's more fun to be the ensemble. Okay, you're the most fun.
I definitely love Hard Knock Life. I was so happy when I got to be in Orphan, because I'm like, yes, I get to do Hard Knock Life.
Yeah, most.
I just love being a part of the cast and getting to spend time with all
All right, what about you?
My favorite part is Hard Knock Life and like when we get to act out our parts and everything.
All right, Molly.
Going in the laundry bag.
Oh, she gets knocked in the laundry bag, huh? We've had some challenges with that laundry bag. We had one rehearsal. Can you tell me about that one rehearsal? That one rehearsal when Annie hid in the laundry bag, but Bundles forgot to take her off. Which changed the whole ending of the story. Because she never ran away because she's stuck in the laundry bag, so we had to correct that. Okay, somebody else? Erin? Your most fun?
My favorite part of being in the show is meeting all these new people, because I've known some of these people because it's been other people. Like I've known some from other shows and camp, but like a lot of these people who was their first year, like I've met them and we've bonded.
It's a wonderful part of theater for young people. They really become very close. They spend a lot of time together. We call it a theater family, and they really support each other and they pull for each other. What's wonderful to see is that the people who are double cast, when they're not on, they're rooting for their other person. They're helping them with their costumes. So they really become a real team and a real family, and that's a nice part of theater. And they're all learning that. Yes?
Well, it's not my favorite part, but sometimes the stuff that's the most fun is when stuff happens that goes wrong, because then you have to think about how to make it better, how to make it work with the story.
Now, some of you were here last night, and we try to teach them that theater, Broadway theater, never goes perfectly. There's any show you've ever seen on Broadway, there's been mistakes. You say, I was at a show, I didn't see any mistakes. Well, you didn't see it because they covered it up. And we try to teach them that. Well, last night, the Tiffany box was supposed to be on the desk, and it wasn't on the desk. And very, very brightly, it shows you what a professional this man is in the 7th grade here, he realized no box, he took an envelope and made believe the locket was in the envelope. And a lot of people didn't catch that and thought, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. And, you know, instead of getting flustered, he just advanced the story and kept going on. So that's one of the things we try to teach them. It's hard to do in pressure situations, but Liam did a great job last night. Really happy with that.
My favorite part was in Little Ghost when I got to chase Eliana.
Oh, you guys become good friends, huh? The 3 of you? Triple trouble, yeah. Triple trouble. Can't wait till they're in the 6th grade. All right, any other questions? Yes.
What if one of the characters from Annie fell or something in the middle of the scene when they were like in a big performance and a lot of people were in front of them? What would they do?
I'll let Kali answer that.
Okay, so if an actor or actress gets hurt in the middle of a show, they usually cut the lights. Stage crew will help pick the person who's injured up, and thank goodness that a lot of characters have another part in a different show, in a different cast. So that person who was off stage, who is not, say, Annie, would become Annie, and they would keep the show going with her being Annie, and everybody keeps going.
The old expression, the show must go on, right?
Yeah.
All right, yes.
Who's going to be Annie tonight?
Christina's not in the room. She's probably getting ready. You know, there's makeup for Annie and Warbucks takes a little time, so they're probably getting ready. But she's Christina's in the 5th grade, 6th grade.
6th grade.
6th grade. How long does it take to put your skull cap on?
Probably an hour to an hour and a half, just sitting in a chair and we the worst part is taking it off because it pulls off every single hair around.
See, I gave them an option. I said, this would be a lot easier if you shaved your head. And the 2 guys who were playing Warbucks, they went, you're not going to make it. I said, no, I won't. This is Dee Spencer. Dee's on makeup. One skull cap after Shrek seems a lot easier. To get that kid to look green every time was really a challenge last year. But it takes time, and let's face it. You have a 7th grader playing an older man who's bald. You know, it's not easy. So you do the best you can. But I think that Liam did a wonderful job up there. Any other questions? Okay, hon.
Did you use red marker to put your freckles?
No, this is actually just red paint, I assume.
It's actually waterproof paint.
Waterproof paint. And then you put a little brown on top of it.
Now you notice that. No, you notice that Annie had to make a very quick change because she leaves the stage when she has her hair in pigtails, and she's got, you know, not so nice clothes, and she goes off stage, and she doesn't have time to go all the way back to the dressing room. So backstage, there's a team of people who are taking her dress off, putting a new dress on, taking the wig off, putting a new wig on. All these people are working around her, and then she goes right back on like it never happened. It's a polished young performer that can do that. So it's really very, very well done. Okay, let's get somebody else to ask a question. I'm gonna have to start talking. Yes.
The girl that played Annie, can you tell us what you did at home to prepare for the role? She was so great today. Maybe just give them an idea of how much work you put in aside from the rehearsal, just out of curiosity.
Well, at home, mostly in my room, I would look over my script, and my sister, who is back there right now, she would also help me. They were always there for me when I needed help with scenes and songs.
Yeah, they have to do work at home because, you know, we can work with them to a certain degree. We got a couple hours, you know, a lot of kids, you know. They have to do work at home, and they all did work at home. I've heard some parents say, you know, I haven't heard, all I could hear him singing is in the shower. I've never heard him say a line, I've never heard him sing a song. Then they see the show like, you did all that. Some they do it privately, some they work with their parents or siblings, but they gotta do work at home. Okay, we'll take one or two more questions, and then we'll get some pictures. The costumes. Oh, we have a lunch. Yes, you want to answer that?
Well, what you might not know is that in Hooverville, they had the Hooverville costumes, and then under it was our servant costumes, and then after the servant, we had to quickly change into our NYC big jackets, so we were really sweaty.
For a large group of them, that was a challenge. How, you know, because you know, in full Broadway shows, people don't play as many parts often. And we here we wanted to incorporate these kids in as many different production numbers as possible. So we had them, they wore their servant, that's called underdressing. They wore their servant outfit, and then they put their Hooverville, the bum's outfit over that. So then when they got off, they took that off, they were the servants, and then they put the winter coats back on for the NYC. So there was quick changes there. Needless to say, the first few rehearsals did not go real smooth. Yeah. People crying in the hallways, I can't find my coat, and you know, so we had to work it out, but it worked out. All right, any other questions?
Crying in the hallway.
All right, so if you
I just wanted to say, especially for boys, there's not enough boys to do this. There's like I think there's 5 of us.
We're 5 of us.
That's like 1 to every 6 girls. So especially the boys, if you're interested in theater, please come here. This is a great program.
Great, Wayne, thank you. It's kind of interesting because we do a camp from grade 3 through 7, and we struggled getting boys. This year we had 11 boys in that camp, so that was pretty good. We do a camp from grade 7 through 12, and in that camp we had 30 boys. And I direct here at St. Joe's, and we have a cast of 45 boys. So it seems that boys take a little while to get their courage up. But there are a number of talented boys and other boys that would enjoy doing this. So I hope you'll encourage them to join our performance gym that'll be starting in January. All right, so I'm going to ask everyone to move now. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it. We're gonna have to wrap it. Thank you, though. You can ask them individually. Why don't you guys step back, and if you'd like to come up and have a picture taken with the orphans or Annie, come on up. Thank you all very much for coming.